Alright, y'all, so today I want to do a very quick review of the Beach Boys' second studio album that came out all the way back in 1963, Surfin' USA. So, at this point, their first album came out. They had been releasing a bunch of singles. Surfing was a sensation, and they were just kind of riding the wave, so to speak. And this is, like I said, a pretty quick follow-up to their last studio album, Safari. Now we are on Surfin' USA. So let's get into it. So I'm going to get my pros, my cons, and my overall opinions, especially if you compare it to their first album. Now, if you don't like any of their surfing music, obviously you're not going to like this album. That being said, for one thing, number one, I will say the cover for this album, just kind of start with the pros, is stronger than the first one. I don't know why. Maybe it's some kind of quick photograph of a surfer riding a wave. The first one felt very stilted and kind of staged. This one feels more natural. I mean, like I said, it's the Beach Boys, and they're always talking about surfing. I mean, you got to have an album cover with a dude surfing, so obviously huge pro. And I think in general, some of the songs here are more interesting, more experimental, if you will, and even some subjects are not exactly talking about surfing as much. For example, The Lonely Sea, a great track. Shutdown is kind of another track that's kind of themed around cars and automobiles. I actually like that one a little bit more than 409. There's, of course, some other surfing tracks as well. Surfin' USA, I'm going to be honest with you, is one of my favorite Beach Boys songs, period. It's so fun. It's so vibey. It's talking about surfing across the USA, so to speak, and it's one of the best tracks from the 60s. I'm really just going to point that out. It's fantastic. I also like Farmer's Daughter, interesting song, and even the instrumental of Let's Go Trippin' is not too bad, right? But I do think overall, and I might get some hate for saying this, I feel like personally speaking, while there are some really brilliant and experimental songs here, I did think overall, as an overall package, it was a little bit lackluster compared to their first album. There's not enough, like, for example, there's some instrumental songs here that are nice sounding, but don't really add too much to the album. And I think in general, the album has some interesting ideas and stuff. The first album felt very unified in theme and cohesion, even with the little skits. This album doesn't really have too many of those. It has some really strong singles, some of their best songs in their entire career, but it kind of lingers around and it doesn't come together as nice as a completed package as their first album. Now, granted, there are songs here that I by far prefer over the first one, so I think that's why I think quality-wise, in certain aspects, this is a better album than their first one. I love Surfing USA. It's probably their favorite, at that point in their career, was the best surf song they had made, period. The Lonely Sea, incredible song by Brian, Shutdown, great. Even Farmer's Daughter is a great song. So like I said, there's some really strong songs on this one, really strong singles. I just think overall it doesn't come together, though, as an album experience as nicely as their first one. I think in cohesion, as in theme, the selection of songs, there's kind of songs here that just feel like a little bit like duds, like not really too much to be said about those. But that being said, kind of reiterate my pros. There are some beautiful, outstanding, really top 10. Some of these songs are arguably in the top 10 of their entire discography for the Beach Boys. And there's some amazing, beautiful songs here. So I think overall, in certain aspects, the songs are getting better here for the Beach Boys. They're becoming a little bit more concise, more interesting. I believe Brian did most of the production alongside his father on this one. Like I said, it's pretty much the same kind of follow-up, if you will, to their first one. But I just think it kind of lacks that album cohesion in terms of quality in that aspect, which kind of, in a way, I guess sometimes I kind of go back and forth with this dips below the first one. It kind of, like I said before, they're a little bit, for me, on par with them. But, there's some pros and cons like everything. So, yeah, my thoughts on the Beach Boys' second album that came out in 1963, Surfin' USA. Like I said, the album they were making when they were riding the waves, so to speak, of their commercial success and going on endless tours. All right, y'all. Hopefully you all have a good day and peace, y'all.